Apocalypse Tomorrow movie. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Apocalypse Now movie review. Okay, so I gotta let you know something. So it's now 2019, and this movie was made in 1979. Yeah, yeah, that's right. It goes for 3 hours and 22 minutes, and it's currently on Netflix. That's crazy. So Apocalypse Now is directed by Francis Ford Coppola. I think his name is Coppola. And I tell you, this would have been a really, really big really big movie to film. This movie's full on because it has some really. It's funny because the people in it that we know now are really big names, but I don't know if they would have been big names when they filmed the movie. I guess they would have been. But Martin Sheen is the main guy. He's the main character. Then you got Robert Duvall. I think that's how you pronounce his name, Duvall. You got a really brief cameo right at the beginning of it. Not a cameo. He's an actor in it, but it's just a really small role by Harrison Ford. You got a very, very, very interesting hippie slash charismatic version of Dennis Hopper. Hopper, however you want to say his name is, and extremely young, and was lied about his age to be in this film. Lawrence Fishburne. Yes, he's the black dude who dances around. If you haven't seen the movie, he like fully dances around on the boat because he's all excited and stuff. Yeah, yep, that is a 14-year-old Lawrence Fishburne. Yep, just I'll let you sink that in for a second. That's no word of a lie, guys. And the incredibly famous, the movie I personally only know him from, the movie that I know him from is Superman, and he is Kal-El's father, which is Marlon Brando, which is wow. Apparently, so fun fact, apparently Marlon Brando is one of those actors that actually he doesn't learn lines because he doesn't want to remember the lines. So he literally has somebody in his earpiece, in his ear, and his secretary literally just reads him the next line. And he doesn't really have much of a line in this movie, guys. I'm not going to be honest. And Marlon Brando actually comes into this movie really, really, really late in the movie. Like really late. So the one I saw I'm guessing was the director's cut, and it went for 3 hours and 22 minutes, as I said. But he's like right at the end. He's in like the last 45 minutes of it. But his character is very, very dominant. And then he's the reason why Martin Sheen literally goes on this adventure. So basically, what happens at the beginning of this movie, guys, is Martin Sheen's character is like he's in this mental state of where he just needs to go out and fight because he's in the army. Well, they call it military, but he just needs to go out and just do his job and just do it right and make it happen. You know what I mean? So basically, Harrison Ford is in this room with some other big shot, big military guys, and they give him this quest. They give him a job to do, but basically they say, but this is your mission, but it's not a mission because we'll deny everything if you get captured and bring it up, right? So that's basically where they're at with it. Okay, so he has to accept it, and then he goes off and goes to one of the countries that he goes to, and that's where the ridiculously famous line, like if you have not heard this line before, guys, then this is what it's from, where I think it's Dennis Hopper, his line in the movie, he bends down on one knee, goes, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. So that's where the Apocalypse Now, 1979, that's where that line comes from. Okay, so if you've ever wondered, is that what that's from? You're welcome. So one of the things that I have to say about this movie that I really wanted to bring up, so this movie is so old that most of the dialogue, in fact, 90% of the dialogue was actually edited in the studio after they shot the film, because the helicopters and the explosions and all that sort of stuff was so loud, it's so full on, that they had to, you couldn't even hear the actors say their lines. So they filmed the movie, and then they went into the studio, the recording studio, and then they just went from there. One of the lines, and I actually watched this on my TV, and no, I didn't watch it straight. It's too long to do that. There's no way I was going to be doing that. I literally watched this movie. I watched an hour of it, or half an hour of it, and then had a break. Then watched an hour, had a break. Yeah, I had a break here and there because it was just full on. But I did watch this movie in my my Beats headphones. Okay, so they're crystal clear. The clarity in them is incredible. So there's a scene in the movie where they're walking through the jungle. Martin Sheen's character and oh no, I don't know the other guy's name. Sorry, I forgot the other guy's name. But it's Martin Sheen and some other guy. Anyway, the only thing that annoyed me about that scene, and I understand it's really, really old. This is super, super old. I get it. But the only thing that annoyed me about this scene specifically is the fact that I could actually hear. I could hear them in the studio. You could hear the audio dialogue. Like, you could tell they were not in the jungle at all when they recorded that. And that was the only thing that kind of threw me off a little bit. But other than that, it was amazing. So basically, he goes through jungle, and characters die, and it's full on extreme and all that sort of stuff, and he finally reaches his mission, and finally reaches Marlon Brando, and Dennis Hopper's there, and he's all like, he's a camera dude. I just want to film this. I just want to get this motion. I just want to make this happen, and capture this in time and relevance and blah blah blah. And, he's so excited about being there, whatever. And it's just Martin Sheen is literally, his character is just, his mission is to go and kill Marlon Brando. That's his mission. And so I'm not going to spoil anything. Go and see it for yourself. Go and watch it on Netflix. It's a long movie, but you want to do it. But yeah, it's incredible at what happens and what they discover, and just the overall mass of this movie. I have to say, guys, I will definitely say this. It's definitely a watch. It must watch. I mean, this is one of those movies that is just so in pop culture reference. This is massive. But I will say this. If this movie was in cinemas and it was the director's cut, I personally would definitely not have sat through this movie. Because the pacing's great. Don't get me wrong, the pacing's good. But for just the extremities of it, do you know what I mean? It's a big movie. I'm glad that I watched it at home. That's all I'm going to say about that. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed this movie review. I know it went for a really long time, but it's such a big movie that there was a lot to say, that I really appreciate you sticking in there with me, listening to what I had to say, and I really value your time. I really do. It really means a lot to me. Thank you so much for your time, guys. I really appreciate it. Until my next review, stay cool.